Hello, good evening. Thank you all for joining us this evening for our information session regarding financial aid and billing information for the University of Hartford. My name is Catherine Deacon. I am the Director of Student Financial Aid here at the University of Hartford, and I have a few colleagues with me this evening who I'm going to give an opportunity to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Jarvis-Letman. I am the Bursar here at the University of Hartford, and welcome.
Hi, I am Cassandra. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Financial at the University of Hartford.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Myra Valverde. I'm an Assistant Director here in the Financial Aid Department. I'm glad you're all able to join us tonight.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I am Kelly Crane, and I am the Bursar Operations Administrator in the Bursar's office.
Thank you, everyone. So again, we're very excited for you to join us this evening. Normally, under normal circumstances, you would be meeting myself and Michelle at orientation on campus in person, and we'd be going through a lot of this information with you. We know that the financial aid process and the billing process can be a little bit intimidating, sometimes challenging, a little bit confusing. And so we hope that by listening into this presentation, we will make it a little bit clearer for you all, make this process as easy as possible for you. Just a few items before we get started. We are going to leave time at the end of the presentation for Q&A. And so on the right side of your screen, you should see a box that is labeled Q&A, and you can go ahead and submit your questions there. Again, we're going to leave plenty of time at the end to do that, and all of my colleagues will jump in and share some information with you during that time as well. We are also recording this presentation so that we can send it out and we can post it on our website at a later date for you to review it then as well. So moving on to just some things, we are going to cover just some general resource information that you need to know about the University of Hartford, and then I'll go into greater detail regarding the financial aid process as well as our billing process and the things that you need to know about payment options as we go through. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy now, who's going to share some information about resources with you all.
So the first resource we start with is the Center for Student Success, which is actually our one-stop shop for academic advising and many administrative services. So you can go there without an appointment and you can get help with registering, making payments, some of your student account information, as well as even getting some general financial aid information. And one of our big online portals is what's called our student self-service. So this is where you can see anything from your registration to your bill through CashNet. You can view holds. You can also accept your financial aid as well as see that you have outstanding financial aid requirements. So many students should have already gotten an email to their personal email address giving you information on how to get onto your University of Hartford email address, and the first email in there would be information on how to log into self-service. If you've had some issues doing that, you can reach out to the Center for Student Success for help. But if your issue is that you don't remember your password after switching it, you can just hit the forget password and it will send you an email so you can get that reset. And then my favorite thing to talk about is FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's basically the same thing as HIPAA, if you've ever gone to the doctor's office. So basically, students designate who has access and to what when it comes to their educational file. So it's going to start to affect a student on the day they start classes. So it's very important during the summer that you have your student go on to self-service and fill out their FERPA. That way, when classes start, you're able to call us and get all your answers, your questions answered, whether it's billing, financial aid, or academic issues.
Thank you, Kathy. So I'm going to go into some more detail about financial aid at the University of Hartford. But first, if you're joining us on a computer, at this point in time, you should see a picture of Bates House at the University of Hartford. Some of you may have visited Bates House if you had the opportunity to come to campus, because we do share this building with our undergraduate admission department. And so that is where financial aid is housed, so to speak, on campus. And so when students are on campus, they can come visit us Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., no appointment needed. We have staff ready and willing to answer questions and sit down one-on-one with students. At this point in time, as you can probably imagine, we are currently working remotely. The good news is that we're still available to talk with you Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We are available via email, and we are answering emails constantly. We are available via phone, so if you call the number on your screen there, you will actually be automatically put into a voicemail, and we have staff that is returning voicemails while we are remote. We're setting up Zoom sessions with families. We are setting up WebEx sessions with families, and we also have a live chat feature. So if you go to the admission and financial aid website at hartford.edu, you will see a link that says chat now, and you can go ahead and chat with us live there, and we can answer all of your questions for you right through that function as well. So again, we're here to help you through this process as we go through. Just a little breakdown of our financial aid staff. We have 2 assistant directors, as they have already introduced themselves. We have Cassie and Myra on this evening. But we do have dedicated staff to work with each student. So each student is assigned an assistant director of financial aid based on their school or college that they've been admitted to. And so you'll see that information there. A couple of things to point out to you. First and foremost, we do divide this in this manner because we want you to build a relationship with your financial aid counselor so that you can feel free to talk with them about any of the needs that you may have in regards to financial aid, billing, covering an account balance that may exist. You are going to be assigned to this financial aid counselor for all 4 years, so you'll have the same person throughout your time here. We do also, though, offer an opportunity for you to speak to anybody. So if you call our office and your financial aid counselor is not available, not to worry, we will get you in touch with somebody else that can help you. So what is financial aid? This seems like a fairly simple question, but I do put it as part of our presentation because a lot of times when you think of financial aid, you automatically think of grants and scholarships, right? That's that free money, so to speak. And so I like to point out to families that that is not all that financial aid is encompassed by. And so what I mean by that is financial aid is any type of funding provided to students or parents to help with post-secondary educational expenses. And so our office will talk to you not only about grants and scholarships, but about loans, about employment opportunities to help fund education as we go through. At the time of admission, your student should have received a decision letter that may have included an academic or a talent award. The names of these awards that you may have seen include our Founders Scholarship, our Hawk Achievement Grant, a President's Scholarship, a Regents Scholarship. For the Hart School, you may have received a Performing Arts Scholarship, and for our Hartford Art School, you may have received an Artistic Merit Scholarship. That is based on the review of the admission requirements that were submitted to our admissions staff member when a decision was made on the application. Generally speaking, academic and talent awards are renewable for 4 years or the equivalent of 8 semesters at the University of Hartford. There is some renewability criteria that students need to meet from an academic perspective, and it is really heavily dependent upon the type of award that they received. That being said, our President's and our Regents scholarships do require a 3.0, and then other scholarships require what we call satisfactory academic progress, and I'll go into more detail about what that means later on. But again, you should have already received information about this at your time of admission. Need-based funding. So when I talk about need-based funding, I am talking about funding that students have applied for beyond their academic or talent award by completing the free application for federal student aid or the FAFSA form. If you haven't completed the FAFSA form, but you think you'd like to apply for need-based funding, it's not too late. The FAFSA form is completed online at studentaid.gov. And we are still reviewing FAFSAs and providing need-based financial aid funding to students, and we'll be doing so over the course of the summer. When I talk about need-based funding, I'm talking about funding that may be provided to the student from federal financial aid sources, from state financial aid sources, as well as institutional dollars based on those results of the FAFSA form. The FAFSA form is the only application that is required for need-based financial aid funding, so we do not require any additional applications. That doesn't mean we won't require additional documentation, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but that is the only application. So that is how you will tell us that you're interested in applying for need-based funding. When we review for need-based funding, we also review for employment opportunities. The main employment opportunity that we are referring to there is our federal work study program. You may have seen this listed on your financial aid award letter that you received from my office, but essentially what the federal work study program is an opportunity for you to work on campus and earn a biweekly paycheck to help pay for your educational expenses. The source of that funding is from the U.S. Department of Education, but again, it is awarded to you in the form of a biweekly paycheck. Beyond that, we do have employment opportunities on campus where students can work part-time even if they haven't been awarded federal work study. So, different departments on campus will still hire student workers even if they don't have federal work study as part of their financial aid award. Federal work study does have a limited amount of funding, so unfortunately every student that is eligible may not be offered the federal work study program. That being said, we do have a wait list for those funds, and you can be added to the wait list by emailing us at finaid@hartford.edu. We'll have our contact information at the end of the presentation as well, so that you can jot it down if you think that you would like to be part of the work study program but haven't been offered that opportunity. In terms of need-based funding, besides the employment opportunity, I want to go into a little bit more detail about the other different types of need-based funding. Particularly, I want to talk about the Federal Direct Loan Program. So when a student completes a FAFSA form, we always review them for an opportunity to be offered the Federal Direct Loan Program. Two main federal direct loans include the subsidized loan and the unsubsidized loan. There are no additional applications to be approved for this loan program. The only requirement is completing the FAFSA form. Many times families ask, what's the difference between the subsidized and the unsubsidized loan? The first difference is that the subsidized loan is interest-free while the student is in school. So the U.S. Department of Education is actually paying the interest on that loan while the student is in school. It is a fixed interest rate for the life of the loan, and we just got the interest rates that'll be starting for next academic year, and the interest rate is 2.75%. The other loan program that students are reviewed for is the unsubsidized federal direct loan. There will be interest on that loan while the student is in school, and that's the main difference between the two. So again, the unsubsidized will have interest. That is at a 2.75% fixed interest rate as well. Both of these loan programs do not require repayment while the student is in school, so you can defer payments on those loans while the student is here. Of course, we always encourage families, if the student is able to make payments while they are in school, there's no penalty by doing so, and that would help to minimize the student's debt. So that is always something that we encourage students to do. In fact, what I normally tell students is if they are working on campus through the Federal Work Study Program, that's a great opportunity to take some of that funding and apply it towards your loan. Repayment on this does begin 6 months after graduation. So again, it's automatically deferred for you unless you choose to make payments. This would have been included as part of your financial aid award letter. We do offer you the maximum available to you based on your grade level and based on your need at the time of your financial aid awarding. So just keep that in mind. Unfortunately, we are unable to increase those. There are requirements beyond just completing the FAFSA in order to accept these. First and foremost, you would have had to return your financial aid award letter, letting us know that you'd like to accept them. If not, you are able to log into your self-service account to take action on these funds as well. So in your self-service account, once the student is in there, there is a financial aid tab where you can view and take action on your loans there. Beyond that, we do need students to complete a loan agreement and an entrance counseling online through the secure governmental website. Again, these are federal loans, so that has to happen online. Basically, what the loan agreement and entrance counseling will tell you is kind of what the student's rights and responsibilities are as a student loan borrower, what the repayment terms are, what the interest rates are, and all of that. What I do also want to point out is that associated with these two loans is what's called an origination fee. Essentially, what that means is before the U.S. Department of Education sends the loan funds to the University of Hartford, they do take out a small fee. And so if a loan is $1,000 that the student is borrowing for a semester, the U.S. Department of Education will take out $10 before they send it to the University of Hartford. We'll go into kind of how you can view that on your bill a little bit later on, but I just wanted to point that out. So aside from the different offers that we would have included as part of the financial aid award letter that the student would have received, if that does not fully cover the student's billing, our office is prepared to help counsel families through the different options that exist to cover that. The first option that we would counsel a family on would be our Federal Direct Plus option. The Federal Direct Plus loan is very similar to the subsidized and the unsubsidized federal loan program. Only the borrower of this particular loan is the parent. So the subsidized and the unsubsidized, the borrower is the student. The plus loan, the borrower is the parent. This would not have been included in part of an initial financial aid award letter because there is a separate application that is required for this particular loan program. And so that application is completed online through a secure governmental website, studentaid.gov. Part of that application is going to require that the parent go through a credit history check. And so the U.S. Department of Education is going to be looking for the absence of adverse credit. So what that means is that they're going to be looking to make sure, as part of that application, that the parent is in good standing on any other previously borrowed federal student loans, that they have not been in collections on any account more than 60 days past due, that they haven't foreclosed on a home, or that they haven't previously filed bankruptcy. If those things are absent from the credit history, the parent has a good chance of being approved for this particular loan. So they're not necessarily looking at a credit score or a debt to income ratio to be approved for this particular loan program. This is a federal loan program, and the interest rate was just released by Congress just last week, and so it is a fixed 5.3% loan. This is much lower than we have seen in many past years, so this is a great option at this point in time. Much like the subsidized and unsubsidized loan, there is an origination fee associated with this at 4.264%, and again, the U.S. Department of Education does take out that percentage before they send the funds to the university. This particular loan program is similar to the unsubsidized loan program where there will be interest on it while the student is in school. Payments can be deferred on this particular loan program while the student is in school, as long as you indicate that as part of the initial application. But again, as we would encourage a student to make payments on their loans while they're in school, if they can, we would encourage a parent to make payments on their loan as well. Another thing that we would counsel, or another option that we would counsel students on if their financial aid did not cover their full cost to attend the University of Hartford, would be a private or an alternative loan. So much like the subsidized and the unsubsidized, these private or alternative loans are loans that are in the student's name. That being said, these are through private lenders, so these are not through the U.S. Department of Education. So these particular loan programs are loan programs such as Sallie Mae student loans, Wells Fargo student loans, Discover student loans, just to name a couple. So again, not affiliated at all with the results of the FAFSA or with the U.S. Department of Education. These are credit-based loans. And so many of you are probably right now thinking, well, if the loan is in the student's name and it's credit-based and the student has no credit, what happens? And the answer to that is almost all undergraduate students need a credit-worthy cosigner that can be included on the loan with them. We do maintain a list of suggested lenders that students can use, and it is listed on our website. And so you will be able to find more information about that there. We will help counsel students on a loan program that might work good for their particular scenario, so you're not in it alone. But again, these are private lenders, so these are not associated at all with the U.S. Department of Education. Therefore, I can't give you any information about what the interest rate might be. I can't give you a ton of information about what the repayment looks like on those particular loans because they do vary by lender. Another thing that my office might counsel a student on in terms of helping to cover their costs is applying for additional scholarships. And so when I say these additional scholarships, I mean scholarships outside of the University of Hartford. So civic organizations, churches, places of worship, other nonprofit organizations, they all offer scholarship opportunities. And so we do combine a listing of them and combine a listing of search engines that students can use to apply for additional scholarships. When we are on campus and we aren't working remotely, we actually have a hard copy book in our office that has lots of different scholarship opportunities that students can apply for. These particular applications for the fall of 2020 probably have many deadlines that have already passed, but we always encourage students to continue to apply for outside scholarships beyond their first year. And so that is something to keep in mind for years 2 through 4. Sometimes these applications require additional essays or transcripts or recommendations, and our office will definitely help students kind of compile that information if needed. As we receive information from, area nonprofit organizations about scholarship opportunities, we will also post them kind of to our student news website, which is called UNotes, where students will get more information about that. So students can check that for that information as well. What I always tell students, sometimes they come into our office and they say, well, I applied for, 20 scholarships and I only got one, and I don't know if it was worth all the extra essays and transcripts and all of the extra work that I had to do. And I always tell students, if you hadn't applied for any of them, you wouldn't have gotten that one. And so I can guarantee if you apply for none, you'll get no extra money. So I think it's worth it in the end. So that's just something that we always help students through. So again, our office is here to help you figure out how to finance your education, and we will kind of work with your family to figure out what the best option is for you. In many cases, it's a combination of a few different options. So what I mean by that is putting some funds on a payment plan, which I'll go into more detail about a little bit later, applying for some extra scholarship funds, and then minimizing debt by, doing those two things before going into any additional loan options like the PLUS loan or like the private loan. So again, we kind of counsel families on a combination of using lots of different options to make it most affordable for your family. Lastly, as promised, I did mention that sometimes we will request additional documentation from your family in order to secure the financial aid that the student has been offered. The first thing that I want to mention is about verification. So verification is a federal process in which the U.S. Department of Education alerts the University of Hartford that they need to request additional documentation in way of tax information for a particular family based on the results of the FAFSA. And so we will be in touch very soon via email with the student, letting them know that they should log into their self-service account to check for additional documentation that may be needed. But if you wanted to log into the self-service account today, you would see information listing out if additional documentation is needed. It is very important that this documentation is received as soon as possible. It will prevent things like financial aid from being applied to a bill or being applied to a student account. So we want to get that done sooner rather than later. Our office is available to help walk you through that process though. In terms of academic progress, I mentioned that this is required in order for a student to have their academic or talent award or any financial aid award renewed from year to year. Academic progress is twofold. So it is a measure of a cumulative grade point average as well as a successful completion of credit. It is heavily dependent upon the major that the student is in. So I won't give too much information, but I will say that for the completion of credits, it's generally between 24 and 28 credits per academic year. So I'm going to go into some more information about billing, but first I want to introduce you to the Bursar's office. Much like when I began the information regarding financial aid, there was a picture of where that was located on campus. This building here is our administration building, and that is where our Bursar office is located when we are on campus. Our Bursar office is working remotely as well right now. They are mostly available via email, and you will see their email listed there, bursar@hartford.edu. The first thing that students will be required to do before they are eligible to register online is complete what we call our enrollment terms and conditions. And so basically this just gives information about kind of the billing process here at the University of Hartford. It also authorizes the electronic delivery of the 1098-T tax statement, which will be required for parents and or students throughout their time at the University of Hartford when they're filing their federal taxes. And so that's an important piece of this. Students should have gotten information from the Center for Student Success already as part of their pre-registration survey. So the student may have already completed this process. But if they haven't, it is completed right through SelfService, and we can definitely walk them through how to do that. Tuition and fees. So tuition here at the University of Hartford is a flat rate for all full-time students. And that full-time tuition amount is set to cover between 12 and 18 credits per semester. And so if the student is under 12 credits, first of all, they wouldn't be eligible for their academic or talent award that they were already offered as part of their admission to the university. But it would be a different charge. And then if they are over 18 credits, there would be an additional charge associated with it. So again, 12 and 18 credits per semester is what is covered in our full-time flat tuition rate. There are a few mandatory fees that are assessed to all students, including our registration fee, our technology fee, as well as our student support services fee. And so students will see that listed as part of their billing statement each semester. Some of our schools and colleges, such as Hillier College or the Hart School, do have school-specific fees, and that's just based on special services or special programming offered for students in those particular majors. I will note that there are also course-specific fees, so things like lab fees, or if there is additional programming for a specific course, there may be additional fees associated there as well. For this particular academic year, the fall bill will not include any course-specific fees. Freshman students are not going to be registered when the first bill comes out. So just keep that in mind. Generally speaking, we're talking about between $200 and $200 per semester, so not a huge difference, and we can always make adjustments to loans or to payment plans if needed to account for that. All on-campus students are going to be required to also have a meal plan. In terms of room and meal plans, which we also interchangeably use the term board for meal plans, it is all based on the assignment. So where the student is living on campus, whether it be in a double or a single, they will be charged a specific flat rate room fee. And then depending upon what meal plan they choose, they'll be charged a flat fee for that as well. And again, you'll see that listed on the student's initial billing statement. Generally speaking, students who are either choosing to live in Hawk Hall or our complexes, which is our freshman residential halls, and that are living in a double, will see kind of a flat rate and the same fee associated with that. In terms of the meal plan, we do have a freshman exclusive meal plan, but students don't have to take that. They can choose to take another one that of their choosing. Students can downgrade their meal plan, so choose a less expensive meal plan within the first 2 weeks of classes, but after that point, they can only increase their meal plan if they choose to. Meal plans are comprised of two kind of features. The first is meals, so those are used in our commons dining facility, so kind of an unlimited amount of swipes in our commons dining facility. And then the other piece of the meal plan is what we call dining dollars. And so that is used on places on campus, such as our Gengger Student Union, which has, Moe's on campus or our Subway on campus, that sort of thing, they will use their dining dollars, which is more of an a la carte type situation. Community meal plans are also available, but are not required as part of the billing. Financial aid credits. So once a student is billed, they will see listed on their bill a credit for any financial aid that has not yet applied to their account. And so financial aid does not officially apply to a student's account until 10 days prior to the start of the semester. So at this point in time, that is scheduled for August 11th, so later on this summer. In order for financial aid to officially be applied to a student's account, the student must have gone through the verification process if they were selected to. They do have to submit all the required documents for that. So in the meantime, the financial aid will show on the student's bill as pending. And so I will show you a little bit more about that later on when I show you a sample of our bill. The University of Hartford exclusively uses e-billing, so electronic billing. The bill is posted through the Student Self-Service Center through a kind of dashboard called CashNet. Kathy mentioned that a little bit earlier on. There is real-time information on CashNet, so the student can always see real-time where their student account balance is. And then they will be able to receive a PDF copy of their billing statement as a point in time once a month. I'll go into more detail on kind of how the billing is going to work over the summer in just a little bit, but I just want to say a couple of things first. First and foremost, this is the student's account. And so what that means is the student is actually going to get the electronic copy of the bill. So they're going to be alerted to say, log into your self-service account because there is a bill available for you. Again, the student is going to get that. So that's going to go to the student's University of Hartford email address. However, they can authorize a parent to be an authorized payer on their account. And what that means is they can authorize them to get a copy of the bill. I highly suggest that. As Kathy mentioned earlier, the student's account belongs to the student. And so if they haven't completed a FERPA release and they haven't completed the authorized payer, all of the information is only going to be able to be shared with the student. So if you are a parent who is going to be involved in either the financial aid or the billing process with them, you want to make sure that you get all of this set up sooner rather than later. Also through the CashNet dashboard, you can set up the full service payment plan, which I'll explain in a little bit. The first fall semester bill is going to be released the first week of July, and it will have a due date of the end of July, so payable by July 31st. We will bill a second time for our spring semester, which runs from January to May, and that usually comes out the first week of December and is due, the second week of January or so. If bills are unpaid beginning at the start of the semester, late charges will begin to accrue on that. But I will just kind of mention that for this summer, late charges will not begin to apply to a student's bill until September. So just keep that in mind as we go through. We will have the summer to kind of work together to figure out the best way for your family to cover a bill. Here's a copy of the PDF version of the billing statement that will come once a month. So that first week of July, again, to the student's email address, they'll be notified that a bill is ready for them to view on their self-service account. And when they log in, this is what they would see. Again, the top portion here lists out all of the different charges that a student might be charged, tuition, fees, room, board. The bottom half lists out pending transactions. And so you'll see different financial aid awards listed there as pending. Again, financial aid awards will not officially apply to a student's account until 10 days before each semester, and only after the student has completed all required documents for their financial aid. On the bottom half of the bill, you will see the current balance. The current balance reflects all charges on the student's account. The amount now due that you see at the bottom reflects current charges minus any pending transactions. And so that would be the amount that would either be covered either through the full service payment plan, through direct payments to the university, or through maybe a loan option working with the financial aid office. Again, I just want to reiterate that this PDF version of the bill that the student is receiving is a point in time. So if any changes are happening either to the financial aid or if you've made a payment, this would not be reflected in that PDF version of the bill, but I will show you how you can identify that. In terms of payment options, most of our payment options are accessible through the Student Self-Service Center, basically through our CashNet portal. So you can make either debit or credit card payments right through that portal, or you can make you know, an ACH electronic check payment there as well. In terms of additional payment options, of course, we would accept a mailed check. You can use the the portion of your billing statement included with the check. We also always suggest that students put their student ID number on the check so that we can identify which account it goes to, and then it can be mailed directly to the university. Payments can be made in person, cash payments through our Center for Student Success, but they will not accept credit card payments. All credit card payments do need to be made online through the Self-Service Center. And then we also offer the full service payment plan. The full service payment plan is essentially an opportunity for a student and or a parent to make to break up the cost of the University of Hartford into either a 5, a 4, or a 3-month plan. So there is one plan for each semester, so one for the fall semester, one for the spring semester. There is an enrollment fee associated with each plan that you register for. So if you're registering for 2, one for fall, one for spring, then there would be a fee each time. So again, these are either a 5-month plan, a 4-month plan, or a 3-month plan, and it's really heavily dependent upon the start date. Registration for the payment plan is going to begin on June 1st, and in order to get the full 5-month plan, you have to make your first payment by June 30th. So many of you are now thinking, well, you just told me that the first bill is not coming out until July 1st, so how am I supposed to set up the payment plan? Well, I will tell you, contact our office, contact the financial aid office, the Bursar's office, or the Center for Student Success, who can walk you through kind of an estimate of what your costs are. You can always make changes to the payment plan later on, but again, to get the full 5-month plan, you would have to make your first payment before June 30th. After that point, from July 1st until the end of July, you would get a 4-month plan, and then August to the end of August, you would get a 3-month plan depending. And then you would do the same thing for the spring semester. So you would begin setting up payment plans for the spring semester in November. You must be set up as an authorized payer through the CashNet account, which again, I'm going to show you a screenshot of a little bit later, in order to set up a payment plan for the student. So just keep that in mind. So this is what the CashNet dashboard looks like. If you look under the Your Account section, that is a live feed of the student's account at the University of Hartford. So it will include any pending transactions, it'll include the current amount due, again, live. So as things may be changing in terms of you making payments on the student's account or changes to the financial aid that may occur, you will see it live there. Under the Your Bills section, that is the PDF version of the bills that are released once a month. So again, that's just a point in time. So that will not show these adjustments that may be happening throughout. At the bottom of the page, you will see parent pins, and you can see the link that says Add New. That is where the student is going to go to set up an authorized payer. And again, in order to do that, they will log into their self-service account, click on this link, and then what will happen is they will put in your email address as the authorized payer. You will be sent a link in which you will set up an account for CashNet, and then you will see this live feed as well. On the right-hand side, you will see installment payment plans, and that is where you can enroll for our full service payment plan, whether it be the 5, the 4, or the 3-month plan. Refunds. So generally speaking, refunds happen on a student account if they are overpaid for the semester in some way. Usually that is as a result of either a loan being taken out for too much money or a change in cost in some way on the student account. It is possible for students to borrow additional money from a loan fund that they may request in order to cover books and supplies, and then that funding be refunded to help cover those costs. The university does work with an outside or an external bank called Bank Mobile in order to efficiently and effectively process refunds to students. Students have two options through Bank Mobile. The first is a direct deposit to an existing bank account. The other is to set up an account with Bank Mobile. Students will be emailed information about how to do this, and I always suggest to families to do this sooner rather than later. Even though you may not be anticipating a refund right now, if there ever was one on the account, you would want this to be set up so that you didn't have to go through the process. Any federal loan funds that may be processed, whether it be through a PLUS loan in the parent's name or a subsidized or unsubsidized loan in the student's name, that creates a refund on the account, will automatically be sent to the student within 14 days. And so again, another reason why it's really important for this to be set up sooner rather than later. The University of Hartford does work with an outside entity called RadGuard. And so this is a tuition protection plan, so basically tuition insurance. So if there was an injury or some type of illness or mental health condition which required the student to withdraw from the university, enrolling in a plan and paying the rates associated with it may mean that there would be some type of refund offered through RadGuard. Again, this is not university-based. We just offer this as an option, and because we are affiliated with them, we do have discounted rates for families. You will see the link on how to enroll in that program if that's something that you may be interested in. So in summary, a couple of kind of key takeaway points is, number one, have the student complete that FERPA release. Students, if you're on here, complete that so that your parents can get information regarding your account. Again, students choose who and what we are able to share with other people. In terms of e-billing, if you are a parent and you think that you're going to either be making payments or would like to get a copy of that bill, instead of it just going directly to the student, have the student go ahead and walk through the authorized payer process. If they're having any difficulty with that, they can definitely contact our Center for Student Success, who can walk them through that. And they're also going to continue to get more information about this as they go through the orientation process this summer. In terms of financial aid, I would say the key takeaway point for me is to let you know that you should provide all of your financial aid documents as soon as possible. Do not wait until the end of the summer to begin looking at that. Log into SelfService today. It will let you know whether or not you have documentation that you need to submit, and then work with our office sooner rather than later to get that done. Set up that refund preference through Bank Mobile. Again, don't delay on that because you would want that to happen even if you're not anticipating a refund right now. Ask questions. Contact the Center for Student Success, contact the Bursar office, contact financial aid at any time. We're here to help. Again, we want this to be an easy process for you all, and we know that it can be very challenging. So definitely get in contact with us to ask all of your questions. So with all that being said, at this point, we are going to open it up for question and answers. So please go ahead and use that Q&A feature, and we will go ahead and get that opened up.